What's up, everyone? Welcome into the All 22 NFL show. You got Chris and Ray. If you haven't yet, go to the App Store, download the All 22 Fantasy Football app today. You can start playing. We have the most realistic fantasy football game on the market. It includes offensive linemen, full 53-man rosters. You get to use PFF grading. It is fantastic. Go download it from the App Store today or go to all-22.com and sign up. But today, Ray and I are going to be discussing offensive tackles in this rookie draft coming up in April next month. And I think we should just jump into it, right? So first kind of part of this conversation, we are going to be showing you trends of what these offensive linemen showed us on film, not necessarily a highlight tape, right? There might be some good, there might be some bad. It's about showing trends. And we are going to save the analysis part to the second half of the episode. Ray, you're going to be starting off with Will Campbell. Okay, Will Campbell, 21 years old from LSU. 6'6", 319, 32 and 5/8 inch arms, 9.5 inch hands. Spent 3 years at LSU, 2,500 snaps at left tackle. That is pretty great. Combine, 4.98 40, 1.76 10 yard, 32 inch vert, 9.5 broad. Grading, 72.2 offensive grade, 69.7 run blocking grade, 80.6 pass blocking grade, 2 sacks, 5 hits, 11 hurries. Take it away.
All right. Thank you, Chris. So like you said, we identify some trends and show you examples of those trends. You limit us to, the rules, 5 plays, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5 plays is what we're going to show here. And we're going to give you a nice overview and summary of the player before really diving into the rankings. But Will Campbell here, number 66 for LSU, left tackle. We are going to study some South Carolina film, and we are just going to let it run. And so the first thing about Will Campbell is you're in for it when you're going up against him for the day. Again, number 66 left tackle. He just does little things right. He's not going to allow an opposing defender to just take the rep off because the play is going to the other side. He's still going to be a bit of a bully, just really drive into you and just, send a message. He's a tone setter, which you love to see. So just right off the bat, the kind of player that coaches love. And again, is not going to make anything easy on the opponent. So we're just going to jump to the second play here, left tackle again. And he does the little things that you all want an offensive lineman to do. And you kind of wish they did more and don't understand why they don't do it more. Will Campbell does those things. So here you go. Simple, quick set, quick pass, balls in the air. When the defensive end leaves his feet, you want to punish him as an offensive lineman and make him pay for that. Will Campbell does it. A lot of times offensive linemen don't. Will Campbell does time and time again. So it's the little things that allow him to really set the tone. And you can see why he's so highly regarded by his peers, by his coaches, and why he has, such a good name. So now the third play here, we're going to let it run. Again, left tackle again. And what you're going to see here, just really solid, just kind of patient standard pass protection here. He's really strong. Once he gets his hands on the inside and wins here, defensive end is going to try to long arm him, and it's just not going to work. He's not going to move Campbell off his spot. He's just going to ride him beyond the pocket here and really not allow any pressure whatsoever. Again, good base, hands on the inside, as you can see here, and is just strong enough to hold his ground and not. We talk about dying a slow death. He's not dying any death at all. So he's the one bringing the violence to the defender. Now, as the game is progressing, we're going to see here, again, left tackle 66, let it run. Now in the run game, same thing. You see the strength. It's not a punishing, just sort of devastating blocker or anything, but again, just kind of allows the defender to use his momentum against himself and just pave away and, get a nice chunk play behind him. So he's going to allow you to beat yourself, which is perfectly fine. So again, not a devastatingly punishing run blocker or anything of the sort, but gets it done and has that core strength to keep the positioning that he has if he's in an advantageous position at the snap. Left tackle again in pass pro here. And here's where, again, not devastating strength, and you kind of start to see it come into effect here when it comes to shock absorption here. Again, the defender just bull rush into his chest, doesn't win with the hands. You see the hands to the outside here, and he's kind of getting pushed back into the quarterback. Quarterback gets it off here, but does give up a bit of pressure here. He definitely feels that. And so again, when he doesn't win with the hands, he's not such a powerful frame that he can just absorb contact in such a way that allows him to make up for it. You're going to see him lose some battles like that on a bull rush if he doesn't win with his hands right away, which we're going to get into a bit more here, these next couple of plays. So again, the game is progressing. I think South Carolina is starting to figure him out a little bit. Agility-wise, not necessarily one of Campbell's plus attributes. You've noticed from the combine, you probably heard, the first lineman above 315 pounds to jump so high and run so fast since Trent Williams and I think Robert Gallery. But when it comes to agility here, the lack of a great wingspan here. So one of the measurements, Chris, you didn't mention that I do want to bring up. Will Campbell's wingspan, 6'5". I think it's like 77.1 inches or something to that effect. Very, very low on the percentile rankings for offensive tackles. And that does matter when there's less surface area that an edge rusher has to get around to get to the quarterback. And you don't have that agility to necessarily cut them off on the counter move here. So the defensive end is just quicker and can beat him back to the inside when there's an outside set from Will Campbell. So some of the athletic deficiencies agility-wise start to show up a little bit here, where very technically sound, but those physical limitations do show up now and again at offensive tackle here. So going to let it run again. They're going to go right back to it. They see that it works, so they're going to do it again. Set them up outside, come back to the inside, and just be quicker than the tackle. Will Campbell doesn't have the agility to cut him off here and is going to get beat to the inside and give up a quarterback hit. Another really nice play by the receiver. But again, you're seeing that limitation in Campbell's agility start to take effect. But here we go. Again, here he's just going to battle. This is a clutch play. Game is on the line here. And it doesn't always look pretty, and it's not going to when you don't necessarily have a big frame that can just engulf the rusher. So kind of gets beat again, hands to the outside, but he's just going to battle, take him to the floor here. Not a hold, but yeah, so it's kind of the good and the bad in one rep here. He doesn't just overwhelm a defender because he doesn't have that physical frame and ability per se. But hey, man, sometimes football is just about just getting into a little bar fight for 3.5 seconds and making sure you don't get your quarterback hit when you get into it. And that's what he does here. So lots like with Will Campbell, but you see both the sort of the high end and the concerns that we'll get into a bit more during the rankings portion of the episode.
Ray, can you go back 3 plays, please?
Three
or
plays.
4, maybe 3 or 4. I want to see him from the other angle. Yeah, that's fine. Just pause it at the beginning of this play, please.
All
so
right.
I don't know if anybody's ever read the book, Make Your Bed, but it's about starting your day off on the right foot, right? And I think the same can be said with looking at an offensive lineman's stance. If you look at this stance, does that look like an NFL starter's stance or somebody that's going to be successful on this play, just the way he's in position there? Something that bothered me, and I kind of saw it as a trend, right? It's like when you start a play sloppy, you're going to finish the play sloppy. So just wanted to point that out. I know sometimes I'm a little overly critical on stances, but to me, it matters, right? So we could go forward. We're going to talk next about the 2 Texas tackles. And kids, definitely don't try this at home. We've never done this before. I'm going to try to do it today. We are going to try to review both at once. And Kelvin Banks, I'll go through his numbers first, right? So Texas, 21 years old, plays left tackle, 2,700 snaps, more than that at left tackle, 3 years there at Texas. He's 6'5", 315, 33.5-inch arms, 10 3/8-inch hands. At the combine, 5'16", 40, 179, 10-yard, 32-inch vert, 8'8" broad, grading 86.2 offensive grade, 81 run blocking grade, 89.9 pass blocking grade, 1 sack, 2 hits, 7 hurries. Then jumping to Cam Williams, again, the right tackle at Texas, 21 years old as well, 6'6", 317, 34-inch arms, 34.5-inch arms, 11 3/8-inch hands, 3 years at Texas, only 1,100 snaps career at right tackle, did not participate in the combine. Grading 67.4 offensive grade, 70.8 run blocking grade, 72.6 pass blocking grade, 5 sacks, 3 hurries, and 18 hurries, 3 hits. So the way I kind of did this is you're going to see the screen, right? This one is showing the full offensive line. This play, I want to kind of highlight both players, but there's going to be other plays where it's zoomed in on one or the other. But this one, let's start off looking at the left side of your screen, which is the right side of the line. So Cam Williams, Go ahead and hit play. It just shows good communication, good handoff, right? So we see 32 go inside, he passes it along, gets on 93, has a little bit of help from the running back, but it's just good communication, shows, kind of an understanding of what he's meant to be doing, kind of good athleticism as well, right? Doesn't reach too much, gets his feet settled under him. I like the rep for him. If you run it back from the beginning, we can now flip to the other side of the line, looking at Kelvin Banks, and it's one-on-one, right? And I think one-on-one against a really good pass rusher, and I believe that's Jalen Walker. Or no, okay, Jalen Walker drops back, but he's got 52, one-on-one. Just a good rep, right? All around good rep, good hand usage, good arm length. I'm always a sucker for arm length, and when I can see an offensive lineman do this, it tells me that there's hope for them at the next level. And Kelvin Banks definitely has hope at the next level. Go ahead and go to play 2. This one I'm going to focus on Banks left tackle, but the right side of your screen, right? Just a fun clip. Go ahead and hit play, right? It's I'm going to pass you along. It's a screenplay. I got to get out there. And he just wanted to have some fun, right? And as a cornerback, I really appreciate this, right? We love getting in the mess sometimes too. Just gets absolutely obliterated. But just love to see Kelvin Banks really putting his effort out there. Even though this play was kind of a lost play, right? Got pretty blown up. He did not kind of give out on his effort. So go ahead and go to play 3, focusing on Banks again. Again, I just wanted to show that length and hand usage skill with his arms. Just great battling there, right? Like really good arm length, great job just engaging, keeping the look at that, basically matching hand for hand, right? That's exactly what I want to see an offensive tackle do. So great job on that play. Play 4, I think, is just going to be Banks again, and it's a really nice communication and switch. You see pre-play. I wanted to show that pre-play. They're talking. Go ahead and hit play, and it matters, right? This stuff matters. You need to be talking with your partner next to you. Great job. The only thing, right? You need to also have the visibility. Could he potentially here have gotten an arm out to disrupt number 6, just basically coming free at his quarterback? Potentially as the quarterback, you need to kind of be able to see some things like that. You need to call out pressures. But as an offensive lineman, I would like to see Banks, if he really was, if we were talking about him as potentially the top offensive lineman in this draft, when we see some of those top offensive linemen, Penny Sewells of the world, Andrew Thomas, Tristan Wirfs, a lot of times they will have the smarts to get a handout and disrupt that guy coming off the edge. So again, pre-play, really great communication, but I'd like to see a little bit more just kind of understanding of what you're meant to do. Number 5, we're focusing on the right side of the offensive line, which is, again, Williams. Just a really good fight, but he gets pushed back a little bit too much. And this is kind of similar to what you were talking about with Will Campbell. It's, do you have the strength to kind of hold your point of attack, right? It's one thing, obviously, offensive linemen, a lot of times you have to give up a little bit of room, right? You know where you're allowed to give up to. Usually you have an understanding of the drop back, and you'll adjust how far you get pushed back based on that. But here, just got driven back a little bit too much, and the defender gets his hand up. Could have been a disrupted play. Luckily, Quinn Ewers gets it off just a second before. Would have liked to see a little bit more, but all in all, decent rep. Next play, I'm going to concentrate on both guys again. Go ahead. Yep. And great job letting the rushers get deep. So go ahead and hit play. This one's actually kind of funny, right? So both tackles, I thought it did a really great job, right? Look at that. If you look at where the line of scrimmage is, go back. Look at where the line of scrimmage is at the beginning of this play, right? You're at the 10-yard line. Quinn Ewers literally drops back into his own end zone. As an offensive tackle, you were cursing him out, right? Because they both did a great job. Look at the pocket that would have existed there if Quinn Ewers would have stepped up into it. Kelvin Banks is, or no, that's Cam Williams, maybe?
That's Kelvin. Yes, that's Banks.
That's Banks. He is pissed right now. He's absolutely pissed. He's saying, dude, what the hell, man? We both did a great job on this play. We gave you an amazing pocket, and you're getting tackled at the 1-yard line. Like, are you kidding me? So great job by them. Again, knowing what your situation is, allowing the guys to get deep, really a great job. You couldn't have asked for anything more. Quinn Ewers just needs to do better on this play.
Yeah, step up.
We could go to the next play here, focusing on Banks again. This play is going to be about setting an edge, and I like it, but he never gets across, right? We've shown this with guards a few times on the past episodes, but really good job kind of washing him out. But I want to see you turn the corner, right? Turn the corner and just cave him back inside so that your running back has a clear opportunity to get outside, right? Doesn't do this here. It's kind of a broken play. So I like the athleticism, but you just need to have the strength to finish. And Kelvin Banks on this play just couldn't really get that done. Next play, we're going to be focusing on the right side again. Cameron Williams. Good job staying in front of the defender. Let's take a look. Just it's a body control thing for me. I thought he did a really good job cutting him off, right? He understands what he's meant to be doing. Arch Manning, he's an athlete, gets out of it. First Manning athlete that ever existed, but love to see that. But Cam Williams here, just like be a little bit more under control with what you're doing. 32, the plays I saw of him doesn't really look like an NFL talent to me, that defender he was blocking. So I'd like to see him control the situation a little bit better. But good job, guys coming across your face. You kept him in front of him. You kept your quarterback clean. Again, all in all, decent job for him. We're focusing on him again on this next one, and it's just stay in front of your defender, right? Good job there. Again, I worry that he gets pushed into the pocket too often, doesn't have the strength to hold the point of attack sometimes. The defender kind of does a good job there. I think Arch Manning held this ball a little bit too long. So I think, on a typical play, this is probably a decent situation to be in. But I would like to see if, again, we're talking about him being borderline first-round pick, which maybe we are, maybe we aren't. I'd like to see him hold that point of attack a little bit better and not get pushed directly into the pocket. Let him go outside, let him get deep, but don't let him get into the pocket.
It'd help if he ever tried to reset his hands here. Just get back under him.
It's a great point. Next play here, focusing on Williams, just really bad communication. What are you doing? Right? Like you don't have a direct threat in front of you, which means you engage until there is one. Basically doesn't do that at all, right? And it's a clear rush at the passer. Him and the guard, neither of them knew what they were doing. Needs to be a lot better than that at the next level. This is a play that gets you benched, right? In the NFL, that's a play that just doesn't work. And it could be a play that really hurts your quarterback. Cam Williams, I hope you don't get drafted by the Dolphins. Let's go to the next play. We will talk about Kelvin Banks on this one. And this is towards the end of the play, the end of the game. And I think somebody's starting to get a little bit tired, honestly. All right. I think somebody's starting to get a little bit tired. Does a decent job getting him deep and kind of running him out. But the play's still going on, man, and you can't just let go. So I'm going to show the next play. Go ahead. We're going to focus on Williams on the next one. And this one is a good fight, but again, it's just a whiff, right? Just an absolute whiff on this one. So is this a trend, right? Is this something that we're seeing as the game gets going, right? And getting deep into games, you get tired, you're starting to make mental mistakes, you're whiffing on blocks. Just definitely can't have that happen, right? Keep going to the next one. Go ahead and just run it through. People will see. Can't just fall down. It's the end of the game. We're getting tired. You're falling down, right? 32 again. I don't think that's an NFL player. Could be wrong. I don't think that's an NFL player. Just can't happen. Go to the next one.
Okay.
Then we start getting a little bit better, right? Hey, can't get beat 2 times in a row. 32, not an NFL player. I'm going to manhandle you a little bit. That's a good job, right? While, again, I would like to see you kind of close it back inside so that the running back has that clear sideline. I think this was good, right? More of like a zone blocking scheme, right? You're staying square. Staying square is fine with me because at least you're giving your running back options. So I like that. It's a good block. You get him out and you kind of get a little bit of your pride back. But let's finish this up. I think there might be 1 or 2 more, but we are getting driven right back into our quarterback. Just don't reset the hands like you're saying. Don't break that edge rush. The rusher's got his arm stiff, right? He's just pushing you straight back. We cannot have that. Cannot have that. I'm sorry, that's Cam Williams again. And we are so tired. We are just exhausted here. That's Kelvin Banks. Again, talking about the number 1 tackle in this draft. We are just exhausted. We are getting maybe our foot got tripped up, right? Could have happened. Maybe. Just we're sloppy, right? It's the end of the game. We're getting real tired. Your quarterback's under duress, throwing off his back foot. It's trouble, right? And go ahead and go to the next play. And we're going to see that one more time. We are tired. And it just can't happen like this, right? The end of the game matters the most. We just can't be getting beat like that if you're getting talked about as the number 1 tackle in this draft potentially. So all in all, there were things I really liked about both players, things I really didn't like. But I think that kind of summarizes this draft class. But we're going to move on to Josh Conerly from Oregon. I am pulling up his information. Yep. Oregon, 21 years old, 6'5", 311 pounds, 33.5-inch arms, 10 3/8-inch hands, 3 years at Oregon, 1,984 snaps at left tackle at the combine, 5.05 40, 171 10 yard, 34.5 vert, 8.7 broad. Grading, 78.3 offensive grade, 72.5 run blocking grade, 83.6 pass blocking grade, 1 sack, 2 hurries, 2 hits, 6 hurries.
Josh Conerly Jr. All right, we're going to jump right in. So he's the left tackle, number 76. Chris, catch your breath. And we will observe Josh Conerly Jr. We've spoken about the Oregon offense and how sometimes it's really hard to kind of get a gauge of certain players because of the design of the offense, the quickness of it, the angles played. And Josh Conerly Jr., you could tell he kind of fits this scheme and he plays angles pretty well here. So again, 76 left tackle. We're going to let it run here. Watch some clips against Ohio State. And again, just playing angles. Again, nothing spectacular, devastating here. Just gets his hands on the defender, walls him off. He had the angle at the snap and is just going to allow the back to cut up underneath him for a nice chunk play here. Just playing the angles that he's given and doing it pretty well. But let's just keep in mind how he looks here when playing these angles. We're going to get to it a little bit later. But again, nice rep here. Again, just taking advantage of the angle advantage that he had going into it. So left tackle again, 76 here. Looks like we're kind of starting this right at the snap. But again, so nice skip pull here, just showing off the mobility. Going to go ahead and crack the linebacker here. Does a really good job of squaring up and not missing that block. It's a lot tougher than you think. Again, doesn't punish the linebacker. You don't see the linebacker on his back or anything like that, but gets a nice, nice bit of contact there and allows the running back to just go straight through the hole here and wall off the backer. So good mobility, good solid contact, staying square here and allowing for some positive yardage. Now we're going to see him here in pass protection. And again, just going to, you're not going to beat me wide. I'm an athlete here. Josh Conerly Jr. He's an athlete. He's got some light feet. So if you're going to go out wide on me and that's fine. I'll let you do that. I'll play the angles again. I'm good. I'm comfortable in my positioning. So that's all he does here. It's nothing spectacular again, but just, we talk about quarterbacks taking what the defense gives them. Josh Conerly's kind of the same way. You're lined up a certain way, and I know what it takes to sort of get my positioning to a certain point to win the rep. That's what he's going to do. Left tackle here, again, just outside of the goalpost here inside the tight end. And okay, had a plan, kind of got faked out a bit to the inside and couldn't quite recover quick enough here. Got a little top heavy. You see right here, this is not good posture. So again, can get beat. Right? Misses with the hands. You see the lunge. And I think this is just a matter of patience. There's no need to lunge here, right? This is the defender just basically using your impatience against you, right? You see him, he's already leaning forward here, flashing the hands, gets top heavy, and the defensive end just works towards it. So it gives him a bit of his own medicine here. Whereas before, Josh Conerly was allowing the defense to basically give him the win. Here, the roles are reversed. Doesn't quite have the recovery there to win back on the inside. So yet again here in pass protection. Now, JT Tuimoloau, that's a power rusher here. We saw earlier JT trying to win to the outside. That wasn't going to work. Here, I think it's fine, right? We talk about dying a slow death, decently slow death. I'd like it to be a little bit slower, but again, just bull rush here. Decent job. The posture's not terrible, right? But, again, just a little bit too quick there. But again, JT, one of the best when it comes to that bull rush here. And I think he's starting to go into that part of his bag more so than to the outside like we see here. So again, another bull rush. Conerly kind of adjusts to it here, gets his hands on the inside a bit better. Not great posture here. Don't love it, right? The base isn't spectacular, but he at least brought some of the contact to the rusher that allowed him to die that slower death that we were just talking about. So again, not a power player, so to speak, in pass protection, but by working sort of his positioning and angles can do enough to really slow down those bull rushes if and when needed. So again, some more pass protection here against JT, a little chip from the tight end here, and does a pretty good job. Again, gets pushed into the quarterback, so not so good initially, but then recovers nicely here, or nice enough, I should say, to allow Gabriel to escape. Don't love the initial sort of getting pushed back. That is not what you want to see. Again, goes back to that base, but recovers just enough. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do that against necessarily a Daniil Hunter, so to speak, but decent enough at the college level to get this done. This is an NFL player, but against a Jared Verse, I'm not sure he's going to be able to necessarily recover that far into the backfield without having to play, disrupted based on the bull rush provided to him. So like some of the angles here, I like the athleticism, the redirect. Power can be a bit hit and miss.
All right, love it. We're going to move on to Josh Simmons from Ohio State, 6'5", 317 pounds, 33-inch arms, 10-inch hands. Spent 1 year at San Diego State, 2 years at Ohio State, 1,930 snaps between right tackle and left tackle. Did not participate at the combine due to injuries, stuff to his knee, right? We'll talk about that later. But grading-wise, in the 6 games from this past season, started off pretty strong, 74.4 offensive grade, 68.7 run blocking grade, 82 pass blocking grade, 0 sacks, 0 hits, 0 hurries. Go ahead, Ray.
All right. So Josh Simmons, number 71. Remember the talk about angles here, but we're going to go a bit deeper here. So 71, left tackle, left side of the screen, sticking with the Oregon game for now. And again, angles, it looks familiar, right? Just cut up underneath the tackle here, but I want you to really pay attention to the hands and the hips here. So with Josh Conerly, kind of had his hands, shot his hands to the inside and then just kind of, just rode it a little bit here. Here, the defender tries to long arm and redirect. Josh Simmons is going to reset those hands yet again, and you'll see it kind of brings the hips with him here to really close off the defender and really strain and finish that block, as opposed to just sort of being content with, having the angle on the outset here, and really just leaves no chance for the defender to come back inside and make a play. The splits were a little bit less than what we saw when we were studying the Oregon offense. But again, he uses those hands and those hips to really close off the defender and just stick with it, really straining through his blocks. So I'm going to let it run again. Left tackle here. Same thing. You see it again. They're going to cut inside. He's got the angle, but he's going to really work it here. He's going to bring those hips and really drive into that defender, as opposed to just kind of being content with that positioning. I mean, I love that here, getting that long arm off of him and then just walling off the defender completely, turning him and allowing TreVeyon Henderson to do what TreVeyon Henderson do. So again, you see just a bit more, and those little things make a difference from Josh Simmons in the run game in particular. So left tackle here, right side of the screen, inside of the tight end here. This time doesn't win the hand battle, right? The defender grabs his cloth here. Not a great rep from him. It's going to happen, bit hit and miss. We talked about frame when it comes to Will Campbell. Josh Simmons definitely has a better frame, but he's right at that 33-inch arm mark for offensive tackles, which is kind of like the baseline threshold. You really want to see 34 and above. Sometimes that can come into play here when you're in that phone booth and you don't win that hand battle right away. See the defensive lineman get hands on the inside, just pull cloth, and at that point, there's just nothing you can do. And so you got a lost rep there. And then I think the very next play is when he suffered his injury. So we only had a couple clips from Oregon, and now we're going to go pivot over to the Iowa game. And now again, left tackle still, number 71, right side of your screen, left tackle here. Hard to see the numbers because of these alternate uniforms, which I don't like. I like Ohio State's basic uniforms better. But in any event, so here we are against Iowa. Just straight quick pass set here. No ground given up. Saw how he engages the hands here. Again, look at the hands on the inside of the defender here again, and then get some good posture, extends. There's, again, no ground given up. That's textbook. He's adept at this hand fighting thing. So again, it's the details that matter in Josh Simmons' game, where I didn't necessarily see that from someone like Josh Conerly. Now, again, we're going to run a little pin pull action here. So going to cut off the defender to the inside, but I want you to watch closely. Will Howard really screws this up. But we're going to start from the beginning. Watch closely. Watch the helmet placement here. So he takes an inside step. Defender steps to the outside. On contact, you see here, defender's actually got his head to the outside of Simmons, but you're going to see Simmons redirect and work back quickly and get to the outside of that defender again. Now look at the helmet placement. Now you have Simmons to the outside again, talking about cutting off that defender and giving, in this case, Will Howard, the ball carrier, a lane to the outside. That quick redirect, it's so subtle, but it makes such a difference. Look at all this space that Howard had here to the outside of Simmons, that he just lost his footing, didn't cut quick enough to the inside, and just missed the lane. But that's all because of that initial redirect from Simmons, despite losing initially the outside leverage here. That quick redirect gave a massive lane for Will Howard that was just missed, and he lost his footing. But it was there. He knows it. He's upset. So again, Will Howard, left tackle, and we're just going to admire the athleticism here. Gets into space, drives him all the way out of bounds. This is 20-something yards downfield. Actually drove him so far downfield and out of bounds that he wasn't in position to recover this fumble that he otherwise would have been, because he drove the defender so far to the sideline. So again, let's look here. 49-yard line is the line of scrimmage here. And now on the opposing 35, 32-ish is where he takes the defender. That's 20 yards down the field, folks. That's just beautiful. You just love to see it. Left tackle again here. I forget how many plays I even freaking showed here. But again, look at how comfortable he is when engaging in hand fighting here. So the defender swipes, so he doesn't, with the inside hand, he doesn't get the initial hit here, but then he sort of redirects, brings it back, keeps that outside arm free here. And again, just super comfortable. So then when the defender tries to go turn, then he will engage that outside arm to keep that contact here and not allow the defender to really run the hoop back to the inside. I mean, this is beautiful stuff here. So we're going to, again, defender swipes. Okay, fine. I'm going to keep my outside hand free. I'm going to extend with the inside arm here. And then, okay, you're going to ride back to the outside. Then I'll engage with my outside arm, and just look at that. Just nowhere for the defender to really apply any pressure. Will Howard has all day. And again, just textbook protection here. I think this is the last play. I just got over my skis here. Kept going. Left tackle again. So, yep, sure. Okay, you want to play a power game? I'm going to let you use your momentum against you. Someone grab cloth on me against Oregon. I'm going to do it here against you and just take you straight down to the ground. Yeah, nice try. Again, I'll use it against you. Could have been a touchdown here, but the wide receiver had to come back and wait for the football here. So when we talk about Will Howard, just keep this in mind. But Josh Simmons, love the detail here. Had a lot of fun breaking him down. Chris, who's next?
I'm pretty sure I have a clip that I can pull from this where I can cut it to make it sound like you said I like Ohio State. Might have to use that for future blackmail.
Never.
We are on the last guy we broke down here, which is Armand Membou from Missouri, 21 years old, 6'4", 332 pounds, 33.5-inch arms, 9 3/4 inch hands, 3 years at Missouri, 2,099 snaps at right tackle. I need to make sure I have that right. Okay, combine, 4'9", 140, 174, 10-yard, 34-inch vert, 9.7 broad, 31 reps on the bench. Grading, 90.4 offensive grade, 87.5 run blocking grade, 85.5 pass blocking grade, 0 sacks, 0 hits, 9 hurries. So I really got into the trend thing here with Membou. So the first 3 plays, we could kind of just let them run. So it's really showing him setting an edge and how athletic he really is, right? So go ahead and hit play. Again, this is the right tackle. Look at him get out there, right? Turns it really easy. And that's Nick Scourton, who is, potentially a first-round pick in this draft. Scourton, I don't know how to say his name. Really good rep there. But because of how athletic he is, sometimes he gets a little too quick with it. So keep it going, right? Another job at it. This one I liked even more, right? Good job driving the guy outside and then starting to, gather yourself, turn your body, push him inside. Like that, to me, is really textbook. Obviously, somebody else came and made the play here, but that's not his responsibility. But a really good job. You could keep running it. Next play shows, again, he is a great athlete, but sometimes you need to just break it down and calm down a little bit. Here, just gets a little bit too ahead of himself, right? And again, this is an NFL talent edge rusher going against him, beats him to the inside and makes a really nice play in the backfield for a tackle for a loss. So just needs to control it a little bit better, right? A little bit more maturity in the way that he does things, because he obviously has the strength and athleticism to do it. It's just not being done yet. So next play here, 3 through 6, show him more in that one-on-one situation against pass rushers. Here, I thought he did a really nice job, right? Again, you can let the guy go deep based on how far the quarterback is meant to drop back. I think Membou does a good job of that here. Somebody on the inside got beat really bad. with maybe a blitzer coming in, right? Guys are lost, not communicating well. But Membou on this play did a really nice job, just one-on-one driving the guy outside, keeping his hands square, right? Even though he gets beat on the initial one, he resets, he hooks, and he's driving them outside. That's what you want, right? Next play, kind of a similar thing again. Let's take a look. One-on-one, you're getting driven back a little bit more than I'd like, right? Use a little bit of your strength, but who is he going against? That's Shamar Stewart. This is a guy that I have as a top 10 pick in this draft. In my opinion, the number 2 edge rusher in this draft, who is a great run defender, a really good driver, good strength player, and he drives him back pretty easily. But Membou stays in front of him, right? He doesn't let him pass, which is what you want. So again, a little bit better, needs to be done, but not so bad. We go to the next play. Again, this is the 6th one. It's kind of a similar thing. It's again one-on-one. And again, it's a good job. It's a good job of keeping the guy in front of you, but you're strong, right? You don't need to be getting driven back by this. Hold the point of attack a little bit better. You're strong enough to do that. But again, this is going against Shamar Stewart, a guy who just broke records at the combine. So I understand it, but I would like to see a little bit more of that strength develop. This is a guy that's still just 21 years old. I expect that to continue to develop. Play 7 shows a little bit of that immaturity again, right? Communication's poor. You're not really talking. The switch happens. You're not prepared. He's not prepared. Guy gets inside of you. I'd like to see it a little bit better, right? Once you see that guy starting to go inside, use your hands, right? You should be passing off. You should be staying square. He opens the gate and lets the guy kind of inside, kind of panics. Just needs a little bit more maturity in my mind. Play 8, not at full strength again, right? This is a guy going against Shamar Stewart. Shamar Stewart is, again, maybe the best run defending edge I've seen, similar to kind of one of the guys in last year's draft. But he beats him across the face. He pushes him back into the backfield. And Shamar Stewart really blows this play up, right? And it frees the guys behind him to come up and make a play. It's a great job by Stewart. And as a guy, again, we're talking about as first-round talent, top 15 talent potentially, I'm hearing, I'd like to see him a little bit stronger on a play like this for sure. But again, it's against what I think is a really special edge talent. So just all in all, Armand Membou, really intriguing prospect who I think has really good body, really good footwork, but needs to mature in the way he plays. Could be a little bit about coaching at Missouri. Like to see a little bit more. Let's pause for a second to welcome in audio-only listeners. If you are just tuning in, you can go to YouTube and watch Ray and I break down the film of the top 6 tackles in this draft class. Really good film to go and check it out. There was a 5-play maximum. Neither of us did that on any of these prospects. So there's a lot of detail that we gave on that. So I definitely recommend you go in there and check it out. But if you were joining audio only, what we are going to be doing now is breaking down kind of our overview of these prospects, what we think of them as a whole, and how we have them ranked. So Ray, I want you to kick it off and tell me who on this list you have at number 6.
This was actually really tough because it's one of those where, okay, maybe I love one of them. But not sure I love, or to degrees of which I like the rest of them, kind of hit and miss. But to me, 6 was Cameron Williams. The body of work, not quite there yet. I love the frame. He's my type of prospect in the sense of got the length, kind of has the athleticism. He has the baseline frame that you're looking for in traits, but just wanted to see more of it. And he wasn't quite as consistent as you wanted him to be. You mentioned, is it a fatigue thing? I guess it's possible. I mean, Texas season ended pretty much because they imploded late in the game against Ohio State in the playoff too. So is it a stamina type of deal? And that really shouldn't happen when you're 21 years old. Yeah, I like the frame. There's things to like about all these guys, but 6 for me was Cameron Williams because just the tape itself wasn't as consistent as I'd like it to be.
So I actually had Cam Williams at 6 as well. So we were on the same page there. And I think the reason, actually for audio only, again, 6'6", 317, 21 years old, out of Texas, played only 1,100 snaps at right tackle in his 3 years at Texas, didn't do the combine, and was a 67.4 offensive grader for PFF. So this is a guy to me that I think has the ability to start at the in the NFL. He could be an NFL starter. So that tells you what I think of this class, that I think there are a lot of NFL starter type guys in this class. I think he could be that. But there are guys in the NFL that are good spot starters, or you sign him for a season because you don't have the guy that you want long term. And that's kind of what I thought about Cam Williams, because to your point, it's just not very consistent, and there is a lot of bad on his tape still. I think good body type, decent at one-on-one blocking, decent against bull rush, which I thought was pretty good, right? But gets driven just too easily backwards, not fundamentally sound. I think fundamentals is a huge concern for him. Spent 3 years at Texas. You'd think he was coached up pretty well, but fundamentals being an issue, stamina being an issue are concerning to me, right? And I think, again, at the next level, that's a guy that maybe you're good taking in the second or third round of an NFL draft. This class, I would say definitely this is probably a second round pick, because I think he can be a spot starter for a lot of teams. So I expect him to get drafted to a team that wants to give him that opportunity to start. So that's where I have him. Do you see him in that similar range?
Yeah, that's about where you take a guy. I mean, offensive tackles with that frame and those tools don't fall below that. They just don't, regardless of how the tape looks and whatever other issues they have. That's where they go if they don't have first round quality tape, because guys built like that who move like that are so hard to find and they're so in demand. That's exactly where you got to put them.
Okay. I had Josh Conerly Jr. at number 5 for me. The tackle out of Oregon, 21 years old, 6'5", 311 pounds. Played just under 2,000 snaps at left tackle for Oregon. Combine ran a 5'5", 40, 34.5-inch vert, 8'7" broad, 78.3 offensive grade for PFF. So to me, similar kind of conversation as Cam Williams. I don't think there's like massive differences between them. Good power at the point of attack, really nice size. So similar qualities that I liked about Cam Williams, I liked about Josh Conerly. I think Conerly play in, play out is a little bit more consistent, fundamentally sound, but I think he tends to play a little bit too high. He leads to, like, he grabs on a little bit too much. I think there's some plays that would have been called holds at the NFL level. And I think he's a little bit heavy with his upper body, where you see him get caught leaning just too consistently, and that makes him lose a lot of battles, right? So while he's doing the right things, maybe there is a limit to his physical ability, and that's why he's, not necessarily being talked about as one of the top 3 guys in this class. I have Conerly at 5. Where did you have him?
I had him at 5 also. I really hope we don't have the same
Oh,
exact rankings. I don't think we will, but I have him at 5 for much of the same reason. It's just the comfort with the hand fighting and technique. Obviously, these are things that can be developed, but I always say a part of this stuff is innate. When I watch some other players, it looks innate. When I watch Conerly Jr., I can't imagine it is innate, because he hardly ever does it. He wins with positioning. He doesn't win with his hands. So that's cool. NFL defenders are going to get you out of position way more often than in college, and you're not going to necessarily be in that Oregon offense that allows you to, even if you fail, the play goes on before 2 seconds have even elapsed. So I think he's going to have some struggles and adjustments to make there. But, still, at least in the environment he was put in, he did take advantage of that offense and basically made the best of his situations, as advantageous as they may have been. So I have him at 5 for those same reasons, but I wonder how high his ceiling is, because while he has a frame and technical development that can be had, I'm not sure he has just that sort of innate feel and ability to really just harness or maximize all that he does have physically.
All right. Well, I'm pretty sure our lists aren't going to be the same, because I think the conversation really starts at 4. I think the other 2 guys, clearly 5 and 6 to me. Conversation really starts at 4. And my 4 is pretty different. I have Will Campbell at 4. So LSU's Will Campbell is 21 years old, 6'6", 319 pounds, 32-inch arms, 9.5-inch hands. Spent 3 years at LSU. I love the snap count, 2,500 snaps as a left tackle. Exactly what I'm looking for. Positives, I think he drives really well on run blocking plays where he's one-on-one and square with the defender. I like his hand battling skill is like poetry. There were some plays where I was like, I'm watching the Karate Kid or something, because like he's one-on-one, the guy's trying, defender's trying to get his hands off of him, and Will Campbell's just batting him down, right, and staying square, keeping his hands inside, doing a really nice job. It's like poetry. I loved it. And honestly, whenever he's lined up against a smaller guy, which Will Campbell is on the smaller side, but when he's lined up on a smaller guy, he destroys them. Like, really good against that type of player. So I do feel confident against him. him going against smaller, even quick guys, right? But the negatives to me, seeing him at left tackle stacked up so quickly, and I watched 4 games of this dude, and because everybody that I've watched has him as either tackle 1 or tackle 2, and I just didn't see it, right? I was trying to find it, and you showed some clips that were really promising, but to get to one of those clips for me, I had to watch 5 or 6 losses. Too often, guys are getting into his chest, which is an issue with his arm length and his wingspan. Too often, guys will get off of the initial block. So the initial block, Will Campbell does usually a pretty good job, but it's that second effort. All of a sudden, the second effort, he's losing. And again, I think it's because of his reach, right? You're good with the initial pop, but your arms are a little small, a little short, and people are able to get off of you. Swim moves, Euro steps basically destroy him as a tackle. Hated that. Doesn't seem confident in his strength at all in pass pro, which is super concerning to me, right? We saw him just consistently getting driven back and losing, right? And because of that, I saw him digging his heels in and not necessarily pushing, right? Not driving. And to me, that's, you're not confident in your strength, or you're not confident in the size of your arms, right? So you have to try to figure out different ways to win. And at the NFL level, you cannot stay stiff like that. You will get blown by. What else do I got here? Sorry to keep going like this, but I also think because of his stance, which I touched on, he's very high at that initial stance. It erases explosiveness when he's going to get out on a pull play, or he's trying to drive a guy that's not necessarily lined up head to head. You lose a little bit of what you can do when you don't bring that power when you're starting as high as he is. And anytime I watched him against NFL talent, he lost. That was the biggest concern to me, right? He played, we're talking about LSU. They had a lot of games against NFL talent. Whenever I saw that matchup, he lost. If you asked me, where is Will Campbell on my guard list? I'd probably have him at number 2, or not guard, interior offensive line, because I actually think he's a center. But I have him at number 2 for interior offensive lineman, behind what's his name that we both had at number 1, Donovan Jackson.
Yeah.
And in front of Tyler Booker. So I had him there. I liked him at number 2 as a center in that interior offensive line list. But I don't think I would confidently draft this guy to be a tackle at the next level. I don't think it's possible. So for me, what is the value of Donovan Jackson? I said I see him as like a 15 to 20 kind of guy. So if I'm saying Will Campbell's after that, I have Campbell as probably a late first round pick, and that's where I see him at. That's a pretty different take, so I went on a little bit with it, but I'm very curious where you have Will Campbell.
I had Will Campbell at 4.
Dude, shut up. No, you didn't.
Yes, I have Will Campbell at 4. And I had a feeling you would too, which is why I said what I said. I still don't think we have the same, but not because of Will Campbell, because I have Will Campbell at 4. And the reason why is, although it's different, the concerns that I have with Will Campbell compared to some of the other players, the difference with Will Campbell's issues are they're genetic. I'm sorry. It's a game of inches. That was said for a reason. And it wasn't said because you were measuring a first down on 3rd and short. No, it's because all the inches add up. When you have a 6'5" wingspan on an island at offensive tackle, that is really easy for an athletic edge defender to get around. There's nothing you could do about that unless you are a supremely agile player like a Rashawn Slater, for example. Will Campbell does not have that agility, and that's just genetics. He was just born this way. He can be worked on and so forth, and you can improve on certain things to an extent, but he's just not that next level athlete when it comes to agility and lateral quickness, to where the reason I chose the South Carolina game in particular is because it's a microcosm of Will Campbell as a player. He starts out really strong. He does the little things right. Defender jumps up to bat down a pass. He makes him pay for it because he loves football. He does all these little things right. And if you do something wrong, he's going to make you pay for it. But as the game went on, they figured out what works against Will Campbell. And what works is he's got these itty bitty arms, and he's not very wide, so there's not a lot of surface area that you need to get around. So if you go ahead and set him up to the outside and cut back to the inside, his stop-start cannot keep up with you. And that's Dylan Stewart as a true freshman, 18, 19-year-old player who we're going to be hearing about in a couple of years. And from that point on, just the quality of play and protection from Will Campbell decreased. He still battled, game on the line. We saw it. He's scratching and clawing. He's going to the ground to keep his quarterback clean late in the game. But you can't fix those inherent deficiencies. So when we get into the deficiencies of some other players here higher up on the list, even if I believe a lot of it is innate, some of it's not. And that can be developed with NFL coaching, whereas genetics just are what they are with Will Campbell. And so these are things that just aren't ever going to change, and they're only going to be magnified in the NFL. So I too would have him on the interior. I like your thought and takeaway at center. I would have him below as an interior lineman, both Tyler Booker and Donovan Jackson, with Donovan Jackson as my number one. But to me, just because of a 6'5" wingspan, I mean, that's not even that great for the interior, but it's better than being on an island for an offensive tackle. Offensive tackle, you want like an 80-inch wingspan. You want a 6'8", 6'9" plus and above. 6'5", that makes a difference. 4 inches makes a difference, folks. It really does, especially over 80 snaps in a football game against the very best in the world. So just the inherent deficiencies in his game, I couldn't move him above 4.
Yeah, ask your girl about 4 inches. But the other thing, I have so many questions that we need to have a conversation about this, right? Like, first, I guess, was I crazy to see as many poor plays as I did? Like, did you see that too, or am I out of my mind? Because it felt like it took 5 plays to see one good one, like one win compared to like 2 or 3 losses and then a couple neutral.
To me, I saw a lot of neutral that didn't look pretty, because it's not going to look pretty when you are just outgunned physically. You might be a little bit crazy, because I think he does so many little things well that even when he's losing the right way. And that's a very weird sentence, but but he does have some good core strength, which I think helps. If he did not have really good core strength, then he really would have been getting pushed back. Like, to the extent that we saw Shamar Stewart against Membou just now, kind of really getting driven back. That happened on occasion with Campbell, but only on the occasions where he didn't win with his hands. Because when you have those short arms and you don't have that surface area and that true bulk to you, even if you win, you can get on ice skates pretty quickly. And that didn't happen so much with Campbell, so much as, to me, it was dying a slow death. It's just not going to look pretty when the edge defender has longer arms than you. He's quicker than you, probably has just a longer wingspan than you too. It's never going to look as pretty as it's advertised and billed. But I think he excels when it doesn't look pretty at times. Like, in the run game, he'll battle. He's a bar fighter. I like that about him. I could see why coaches love him. I see why he was so highly regarded heading into this season. But I think when you really sort of separate yourself and you go through this draft process, there's a reason these thresholds are in place when it comes to hand size, arm length, wingspan, and there's a reason we measure these things, because they matter, because Joe Thomas is actually once in a generation. Will Campbell, not the next generational guy in that mold. He's just not.
Okay. So you kind of mentioned his personality, right? Which I think a lot of people are buying into, and I do too, right? And I think that at the end of the day is going to move him up draft boards, because if I think I could draft a guy that's going to be the captain of my football team in 2 years, that's going to make a difference in where I'm selecting him. And the reason I bring that up is because last year's Jackson Powers Johnson is a guy that I liked a lot more than I'm liking Will Campbell's film. And he went in the second round. And I understand that there was a lot of personality concerns about JPJ, but it makes me think, okay, so Graham Barton, would I have Will Campbell above last year's Graham Barton or Zach Frazier at center? I don't think so. I think I'd have both of those guys over him, but I could understand that's where the conversation is. But look at the history, right? That was a good draft class, but both of those guys went end of the first round, early second round. Why am I seeing Will Campbell in the top 10?
Because even these guys ranked above him in this tackle class, they don't compare to last year. They just don't. It's just supply and demand, and people are desperate. It's like quarterback. Unless the very best you have to offer is Kenny Pickett, you're going to get a handful of guys selected in the first round, even if they really shouldn't be, like perhaps this class, which, we'll talk a bit more about. But it offensive tackle is that other position that just gets pushed up the boards even when it shouldn't. People are going to latch onto what they like because they need it. So they're going to convince themselves that they got to have it, even if objectively speaking, it's really just the value doesn't add up in this year.
Yeah, I'm not a bettor, so I'm actually not going to bet somebody on this. But like, if somebody placed a bet or wanted to bet with me and say like, I bet you Will Campbell will be an awesome tackle. He's going to go top 10. He's going to be a great tackle. I would feel very confident in a bet against that. I just don't see it. I just don't see it as a guy that can step in and play tackle at the next level. There's just too much concerns there. If you tell me he's going to be a great center, sure, we could have that conversation. But that's probably enough Will Campbell. Let's go on to our number 3. Who did you have at number 3?
So number 3, I had Armand Membou. Really hope you didn't also have him at number 3, but you probably did. But Membou, so kind of similar script, but different details. There's some concerns with his game. For his frame and for his ability, he needs to be stronger than he is. He's athletic. He's not very technically sound, but okay, I can kind of work with it because I see the flashes. You got to be stronger, man. And the whole combine hype and everything else, the game strength is not quite there. Will it get there? I would much prefer to roll the dice on an offensive tackle, getting stronger than necessarily an offensive guard, where it is much more about wrestling in a phone booth and moving people. I know the athleticism is there. The frame is there. The upside is there. The strength is not. So that's one thing, along with the technical aspects that need to be worked on. To me, those flaws were just as apparent when watching the tape as Will Campbell's flaws were. The difference is that perhaps these aren't necessarily genetic, right? Technique isn't necessarily genetic, at least not fully, right? How much of a natural he is in that feel for just sort of that kinetic battle that takes place every snap. Some have it better than others. I'm not quite sure where Armand Membou falls on that spectrum. But the physical ability, traits, and frame are all there. He just has to get stronger, and he has to really tighten up his hand fighting, his hand positioning, his ability to kind of reset, recognize what's happening to him as it's happening to him. Go into a hop stick technique if you do lose the hand battle, and Shamar Stewart is driving into your chest. Fine. Hop, stop that momentum just for a brief second to get that shock absorption in you and see if you can reset. He doesn't have that part of his game yet, and I think he can get there. But so again, the flaws are pretty apparent, but they're not as inherent as they are with a Will Campbell. So to me, that's what sort of broke the tie there, as to where I could see Armand Membou being, I don't know, the 20th best offensive tackle in the NFL. I could see that. Whereas to me, I think Will Campbell could be the 36th best tackle, the 38th best offensive tackle in the league. He could be sort of, a second tackle for somebody if they keep him out there and they need him to play there. Sure. Armand Membou, the ceiling is a little bit higher, but the variance is a little bit greater. But I'm going to go with the ceiling and the traits there because the ability is there to surpass what I think Will Campbell could be in the NFL if he sticks at tackle.
Very interesting take. So we did not have this the same. I had Armand Membou at number 2. And for a lot of the reasons you stated, right? I think this is a young kid, 21 years old. He's got great size, 6'4", 332 pounds, 33.5-inch arms. Like, that's what you want for an offensive tackle. And when you watch film with a guy with that kind of size, he looks like an NFL offensive tackle. And I mean, that's important. You need to look the part, and he looks the part. He played over 2,000 snaps as well, which is what I want, right? I want a guy with experience. I just think the biggest thing with him was, I don't think maybe the coaching was that great at Missouri. And I see a lot of things I like, right? I think his athleticism is like very good for the next level. I think that his strength is probably fine, right? That's one thing that the combine is helpful for, right? It's okay, we saw it on film, but does it match up? Or, hey, we thought his strength was maybe a concern at the next level. Hey, this guy showed up and did bench. Did he get 10 reps on bench? And like, we're really concerned. No, he put up 31 reps on bench. Like, this is a guy with legit NFL strength. It's just, to me, it's like the fundamental skills weren't there. So if I had to bet on anyone probably in this draft class as like hey, I don't think he showed me enough yet for me to feel super comfortable plugging him in and just being a star at tackle, but I think he could become one. It's probably Armand Membou. I was thinking back to the Charles Cross, Evan Neal, Ikem Ekwonu draft. Those were the three guys in that draft. And he reminds me of a player that in that draft class, we had so many questions about the top tackles, right? But we liked all of them, right? Ikem Ekwonu, really good run blocker, tough, brutal guy, but didn't really have the fundamentals in pass protection. Huge concern, right? It's a passing game. Evan Neal looked the part, but fundamentally just wasn't that developed. I think Armand Membou is more developed than Evan Neal was, right? Which, God willing, right? Charles Cross looked like he had the arm length and pass protection, but maybe not that next level strength. Membou probably to me has the best traits of all of those three combined, right? I think he's got the size and strength of Ekwonu, just doesn't bring that that kind of like brutal attitude yet, but I think he could develop that. I think he's got the length that Charles Cross had. I think I saw that at times. I think he has the fundamental traits of an Evan Neal. So to me, it's like you're getting the best of those three worlds. To me, that's a really good tackle at the next level. It could be a really next tackle if he goes to the right team that could develop it. And I understand why some analysts are starting to move him up and say, is this a guy that the Bears at pick 10 go ahead and take? Like, maybe that's a little bit early for me. I have him kind of as that somewhere in the teens. I'd say probably makes sense for him, but I would still take a bet on him and feel really good if my team did that. So for me, I see him a little bit different than you in that, like, I'm more willing to bet on the upside than maybe you are. But that means that we probably have, oh, well, I guess I could be wrong, but I have Kelvin Banks at my 3. So let's talk about Kelvin Banks. Kelvin Banks, to me, again, 21 years old at Texas, played left tackle, 2,700 reps at tackle. That's what I really like to see. 6'5", 315, 33.5-inch arms. Did a bunch of stuff at the combine, and I think it was okay, right? 5'1", 40 is okay for a guy his size. 32-inch vert, 8'8" broad. It's all just kind of like mid. It's fine. But grading wise, 86.2 offensive grade, 81 run blocking grade, 89.9 pass blocking grade. Those numbers are fantastic. I thought he was a very balanced player early in the game, when he has time, right, and he's fully at his strength. Really good balance, really good strength in the run game. I like that he brings that brutality, kind of like that Ikem Ekwonu, like he wants to bury you. Great use of hands. We showed that, right? Really good hand fighter, can match defenders' hands, keep himself clean. Good punch, really good lock on, right? Like, this is a strong guy. He's strong enough to be a tackle at the next level. But poor conditioning is a concern of mine. When he gets tired, the balance concerns are just really bad. And I never saw him dominate. I really just never saw him dominate like anyone, right? And that's where I think the biggest concern to me is I think Membou has a lot of traits that to me say, okay, this guy can dominate at the next level if he develops. I don't really know if that player is within Kelvin Banks's kind of range of outcomes. I think this is a really good starter that you would draft and feel confident. I have him in the same draft range as Membou in that teens, but I would still take the chance on a pure talent that also has a nice snap count under his belt, good experience, than a Kelvin Banks, who to me the floor is probably a lot higher, but the ceiling is much, much lower.
So I had Banks as 2. What's interesting to me about Banks is I agree with what you said there. When I just looked at Kelvin Banks, like just the first time, I was like, all right, I'm going to study Kelvin Banks. And I just put on the first game, and before I even hit play, and I just watched them line up, I was like, damn, that looks like a really good guard. And so when I looked at his combine measurements, to me, I was like, okay, it makes sense. His arm length, 3.5 or 33.5, 26th percentile as an offensive tackle, right? Wingspan, 84 3/8. That's 82nd percentile. That means he's really freaking wide, okay, and kind of below average lengthwise. So I was like, okay, good. My eyes don't lie to me. I can still see. I'm not going blind yet. And kind of how he plays, to me, it's like, yeah, good balance. I like that at guard, right? I think a wide, kind of powerful frame is good. Does get tired. Guards probably get tired more than tackles typically. I looked at him and I'm like, okay, I could see how and why you have him at an offensive tackle, because just bare bones, this is a really good football player, and he's probably the best of your 5 offensive linemen, and he can hold up at tackle and be a very good tackle for you. But I watch him and I'm like, damn, man, he could be in contention for guard one. Like, what if he played at guard all these years instead? What would he look like? I can't get that out of my head. A 6'5", 318-pound guard with good balance and the footwork to play tackle in major college football, but is now lining up at guard. That's my kind of guy. And I know I'm pretty picky when it comes to offensive tackle. I like my tackles to like kind of look more like power forwards. I like the Olus, the Alts of the world. I like those guys at tackle, right? That more athletic build as opposed to kind of the wide, stout guys. And that's a part of the bias I probably have to get over too. But I think Kelvin Banks, if I look at him and studies tape, right, agree with everything you say. I think this is someone where if he hits, I think as an offensive tackle in the NFL, he could maybe be the, 19th best offensive tackle in the league, right? If it hits, he could be the 19th best tackle. I think you put him at guard. He could profile as top 5. That's just me. I've heard whispers about it here and there. Some people, in the outskirts of the mediaverse in draft Twitter, if you will, in draft world, some people talk about, hey, what about Kelvin Banks at guard? To me, I think that is his best position, and I wish we could see him at it, but at tackle, yeah, agree with what you say. I like him too. I have him at 2, and I like him there as well. I just think I look at this player and I just see a ceiling that could be higher at guard. If they stick him at tackle, maybe he's a top 20 guy, probably levels out at like top 25-ish, which is fine. That's really good. But I don't think you're looking at an all-pro, a Pro Bowler, or someone that could really anchor you at tackle and you never have to worry about it for a decade. I don't really see that.
Very interesting. And you know what? I think I agree with you. I think as a guard, he would be fantastic, right? And probably higher on my list than several of the guys we spoke about. The only thing is, I think he can play tackle. I think this is a guy that has the ability to play tackle. And like you're saying, probably be pretty good, right? Like this is maybe like middle of the pack starting offensive tackle. In this draft, when there's 4 tackles maybe that we would have go first round, maybe, it's like, does he have to end up playing tackle just because teams are going to need that so much? Is that the best thing for him? Maybe not. But, that's kind of why I tend to put him at tackle, just because I think the need is just going to be so great at the next level, for these teams drafting, that they're going to have to do it.
Yeah, which I hate. My team building thing. Take your best talents and put them where they're best and work around it. Don't just take your best player and then use him to fit a need. I don't like that. If I got a 9 out of 10 guard, I'd rather that than a 6.5 out of 10 tackle. I'll work around tackle, but give me a beast guard and I can build around that. That's how I see Kelvin Banks. But yeah, he could play tackle, and sure, fine if you need him to, but I'd rather kick him inside and let him be a brawler.
That's why I think whenever I see a mock with him to the Dolphins, it makes so much sense, just because there's positional flexibility, right? They have needs everywhere, so you can play him at his best position. He also has that kind of build that works in that kind of a run scheme. So I like it, right? I actually really like that fit. I think it could be the fit that, or the place where he ends up going in this draft is at that pick to Miami. I think it's like 13 or something. But we're both on the number 1, and sounds like we have the same number 1. And I'm just going to start by saying, if anybody told you that Josh Simmons was not the number 1 tackle in this draft class, they lied to you. They straight up lied to your face. Josh Simmons from Ohio State, 6'5", 317 pounds, 33-inch arms, 10-inch hands, spent 1,900 snaps split between right tackle and left. He has this knee injury. I understand if that's why people are coming forward and saying he's not, our number 1 guy. We don't know how that knee's going to heal. And it was a pretty major knee injury. The knee tore his patella tendon in his left knee. But every report I've seen so far is that he will be ready to play at the start of the 2025 season. It might not look great at first, right? But to me, this is the only player in the draft at tackle that I said has the ability to be top 10 in the NFL when healthy. Obviously has the ability to play tackle at a high level now, and showed me it on film consistently. Is his length a little bit short? Yeah, it's a little bit short. Maybe that's another reason, right? People are like, Membou is the only one that has the length and the size to really play a tackle at the next level of these top guys. But when I watch Simmons' film, it's not just his size. It's the way he gets into his stance. He gets deep into his stance and he attacks you. This dude moves surprisingly well for a guy at his size. even the play you showed me where he gets kind of pulled down by the cloth, I think it was Iowa, he didn't fall down. He athletically caught his feet, spun around, and was ready to play football. Like, this dude is an athlete. He's a stable blocker. He's powerful. His pop is powerful. You can leave. He's, again, maybe the only one that you can truly leave on an island all game and feel confident that he'll do his job for you. Obviously, the injury is a huge concern for me. But my note in negatives is there's nothing on film that stuck out to me to say, I don't think I could play this guy as a tackle for me and start for the next 10 years if he's healthy. So for me, clear as day, tackle number one. Clear as day, if the injury, you do your little review and it turns out you're like, I'm not super concerned about this injury, he is a easy top 10 pick and potentially top 5 pick in this draft.
Yeah, I have no idea why he wasn't or hasn't been talked about as clearly the top guy. He, like you said, he checks every box other than I wish his arms were an inch longer. That's it. That's it. Everything else he does well. Run game.
If you're 4 inches, if you're 4 inches short, your wife might have a problem. But if you're only an inch short, she might let it slide, right?
Right. Sure. So he's right at the baseline, 33. That's fine. Yeah. There's nothing for me to nitpick at. I was worried that I was going to come off like a freaking homer, like just showing like, oh, here's the one bad play I found was him just getting cloth pulled on him. And like you said, he literally did spin. He was on his right leg and still he did not hit the ground. He did not hit the turf. And I was like, damn, that's pretty athletic. Almost made me wonder if he actually hurt his knee on that play and not the next play, because maybe that torque is what actually did it. And then, he went to the ground the next play because, then when he had tried to play through the injury, he couldn't. That almost made me wonder which play he actually got hurt on, because that was insane to actually stay on his feet on that play. But yeah, he's not content with just being in front of a defender. He actually strike, strain, finish every play. He goes through all three. He's not content with just good. He does every rep. He goes through every rep exactly how you're supposed to, exactly how you want a player to do it. Even when he has the clear advantage to the inside of a defender, he's still going to torque his hips and really turn that defender and give the running back the best possible lane he could have to the inside. He just does it all, man. He really does. His tape is just, there's nothing to nitpick at. You can't get mad at watching a player like this. The only thing is I wish he had arms an inch longer. That's literally the only thing. But his hand fighting is so good. He does have that innate ability to hand fight to where, and again, it's not terrible length. It's just right at the baseline, and you always want more when you're drafting in the top 10. But he can hand fight there. Like when his hands are swiped, he will flash, bring him back in, withdraw, and then strike again based on the position of the defender. If the defender's going to the outside, fine, I'll strike with my inside and I'll kind of drive you there. And then if you commit, then I'll bring my outside hand in. I'll work with you here. He's content with the battle. Someone like Conerly and these other guys, they don't have that skill set. I don't know if he trains MMA or what, or if this is just something that he just has naturally, but he's really damn good at it. So he's the clear number one guy to me. If he was in the previous class, I probably would still have Alt above him, maybe Fashanu because of the length. Might be biased there, I might not, but to me, he definitely wouldn't be below tackle 3 in last year's class. And to me, the offensive tackles, there were several of them that could have went top 10, top 8. That's how I see this guy in that same light. He's a top 10 talent for sure.
Very funny you just brought that up, because I had just pulled up last year's draft. So Joe Alt went number 5. I would have had Joe Alt above him as well. I think Alt is extremely special. After that, right, J.C. Latham went 7. Olu went 11. Fuango went 14. Mims went 18. Like, I get what you're saying about Olu. I would have had Josh Simmons above. If Josh Simmons was fully healthy and played the year fully healthy, I don't think there would be any question I'd have him above Olu. But I don't think I had Olu as my number 2 last year. Maybe I did, and it was close, but I think it was between him and J.C. Latham. I would definitely have him above those 2 guys. Like, I think he's that level of talent, and that was a really special talent in that class. So that shows you how high we have this guy in our mind. That last year, I'm thinking he probably goes 7 to to Tennessee. So we're talking about a guy that's not just high because of this weak draft class. This is like a legit talent. And again, it's blowing my mind that everybody doesn't have this opinion of him. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's baffling to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Out of sight, out of mind, I guess. I don't know, but that's the only thing I could possibly think of. Is he is very, very good at football, and it hurts me to say that stuff, but yeah, he's damn good. He's damn good. I don't get it.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for sticking with us. Thank you for tuning in. Please give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and X at all22_PFF, and give us a review wherever you watch or listen to your podcast, and have a great rest of your day.
Go.